me in a moment because it says going live.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you see you got it?
In order for me to go to chat, I would have to go to Roland review on my phone, right?
Right.
Because I'm not gonna go on the iPad. Okay, let me go do that. All right.
Yeah, go on the iPad. That'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm going on my phone.
Okay. Okay, it's working now. You should be good. Okay.
Okay.
Bye. All right, Denisha, are we good? Can you hear me clearly now, Denisha? Rhonda, you should be able to hear me as well. If not, let me know. Okay, so everything is good. I don't know why we have so many technical difficulties. Okay. All right, someone else. Rhonda. Okay, Rhonda's here. Hi, Rhonda. How are you? Okay, so everyone can hear me clearly now? Okay, Stephanie, are you in yet? All right. See, Denisha, Rhonda. Okay, we've had someone else to join as well. Okay, let me see. And I'm going to keep this pulled up on my phone as well so that I can keep up with everyone. Okay, and the questions that you're asking. Okay. All right, so we have Rhonda, Denisha. Steph, is that you? Type a comment. Let me know you're in because I know you were saying that you were having some problems. Hi, Rhonda. Okay. So we're just continuing, folks. As you know, I uploaded, I think, chapter 3 yesterday. Okay. So we're still talking about a song for you and some of the topics that we've already listed in the book. And, you know, again, this isn't, only this is my channel, it's your channel. So from some of you that I've already spoken with, we all love Whitney Houston, okay? So again, Denisha, I think I spoke with you. We were chatting, leaving each other comments the other day, and I'm still, shocked and blown away. And don't forget, for those of you watching my live chat, also, there's another excellent YouTuber, the Shut Up Ashley podcast. She does an excellent job. She has a lot of very informative people on there with some very good information as well. So basically, with the live chat, you can ask questions. I've done a lot of research. I've read Robyn Crawford's book. Looked over Kevin Ammon's book. I've sort of looked through Bobby Brown's book, and so what we're trying to do is get some information out there. Unfortunately, when Whitney Houston was alive, the narrative was usually negative. So with our channel, again, it would be nice to say some nice things about her. She still holds records, with all the awards that she has won, that she won in her lifetime. And I think we as human beings usually like to focus on negativity. Let's talk about some of the good things that she did. And they were many. Okay. All right. Hi, Mo Dollars. How are you? So I just finished up chapter 3. If you have not read this book, you are missing an excellent source of information on Whitney Houston, the Whitney Houston that we never knew. So excellent book. This is the best book that I've read in a really long time, and I read a lot of books. Okay. Question. Chapters 1 through 3. Okay. The quarantining is actually going okay. It sometimes though I have to break out of here and go for a ride or something. I'm not used to um, uh, sitting around. I've been working since I was 14. Okay, Mo Dollars, I got your message. Okay, nice to hear from you, Mo Dollars. Any questions, folks, about anything? I don't know everything, but in addition to reading the book, I've also, done extensive research on my own, various websites, watching other YouTubers and some of the information that they were able to gather. All right, I have 5 people watching and I only have 1 like. All right, folks, let's as we're doing our live chat, let's go ahead and like this video as well. If you have this blowing really loudly, and I'm near my living room window, so that if you hear some noises, that's what you're hearing. You're hearing the wind. So let's go ahead and like this video, folks, if you're enjoying it. Chapter 3, Denasia, it was eye-opening to say the least. So again, okay, I hope we may be buffering a little bit. Again, the weather is a little bit unstable right now, a lot of high wind. Of their relationship, and also it sort of debunks what her family, what their thoughts were, that Robyn turned her that way. Well, after reading chapter 3, it Robyn wasn't pursuing Whitney, it was the other way around. All right, so and also, Denasia, chapter 3, they were making drug runs. So I was like, oh my God. They were in some really, really bad neighborhoods in New Jersey, scoring drugs. And it frightened me. One part in chapter 3, Rob sit there and do the drugs in the house. So Robyn was just looking around, and she was, wow, anything could happen to us here. We're 2 young women and, some pretty seedy characters there. So thank God, nothing happened. And Robyn said they could have been raped or killed. And, she said that that one day they were leaving a drug house, and, one of the guys went, hey, mommy, they recognized Whitney. Remember now, she's modeling, so she's in magazines. So at that point, Robyn really became frightened. She told Whitney, from now on, you're not going in the trap house. You're not going in the drug house with me. You're going to sit parked in a car around the corner. If I'm not back in 15 minutes, drive off. All right. So as we can see, Robyn taking on the role of protector, I thought that was also significant as well. Like I said, having a few connectivity in the live chat. All right, 8 watching now. Okay. Any other questions in particular that any of you might have? Okay. Okay, let's see who else. It's taking a moment, but your questions are coming through. Okay. Also in chapter 3, I think Robyn mentions that, Whitney will come to her basketball games and cheer her on. So this shows you the blossoming, basically with chapter 3, you see the blossoming friendship / relationship, okay? Okay. Hi, Jermaine. Jermaine made it to today's chat. How are you, Jermaine? We're just discussing chapter 3, which I uploaded. Whitney and Robyn's relationship, friendship / relationship, really started to blossom. And Robyn and Whitney went to their first gay club as well in Ashbury Park, I think. Yeah. So again, they're just, living the life, having a good time. All right, Denisha says, it made me realize that their relationship was an actual relationship supporting each other and being, yeah, Denisha, it does appear, that that's what was happening. And, Denisha, if you're like me, still like, well, I don't believe it. And this Robyn Crawford is making up this information. Folks, you don't have to listen to just Robyn Crawford. Whitney's ex-husband, Bobby Brown. So, a lot of people are making a lot of comments about their thoughts, but folks, I say at least do a little research. You don't want to read the book, just go online, go to some reputable sources. So in Rob Crawford's book, Bobby Brown and Kevin Amazon, when you have three people saying basically the same thing, okay, it has to be some truth to it. I mean, they didn't get together and make this stuff up. And it's very telling what I'm learning about, the statements and things that Bobby Brown, are making. Bobby Brown, he was Whitney Houston's husband. And so, I'm sort of kind of, when I read this book and, did some of my research before I purchased Bobby Brown's book, I was like, wow, you know, he really, treated her badly, now, doing more research and now seeing, some of the things he was feeling, as he was in that relationship. Stephanie says, do you marry Bobby Brown? I think that's when she had come to that point, or she was like, who cares? So I think at that point she was like late 20s. And so she was to the point, who cares? Okay. And remember, Stephanie, we talked before, Whitney Houston had dated Eddie Murphy. And I think that's who she really wanted. And of course, Eddie Murphy playing games as usual, allegedly. And remember, I think I mentioned, Stephanie, to you before that Bobby Brown was dating Janet Jackson. None of us ever knew that. That was shocking to me. Okay, knowing how the Jackson, I was like, oh, okay. So very informative. And one thing I like about talking about Whitney Houston, her life, reading these books, as they're mentioning various stars, talking about various songs, it's kind of nostalgic for me because it's taking me back, and I'm like, well, what was I doing at that time? I was in college, I was here, I was there. So it's taking me back down memory lane, and I love it. Stephanie, okay, so I answered that. Anyone else have any questions? So that's one thing that I really, really enjoy. I love remembering, where I was at that particular time. Whatever was going on, in the world. So that's how I feel about that step. Okay. She got to the point, Bobby Brown, she changed a lot. And she developed his sort of forget it attitude. I do what I want to do. If you remember, those of you who know some of Bobby Brown's songs, he had a hit song called My Prerogative. Okay, so to me, she did change a lot. And you could see, even like when they would be out in public and someone would ask questions, she, became a little more abrasive with reporters because that's how Bobby was with reporters. And so she did change a bit. Okay. Okay. Who else has a question? Okay. All right. So, okay, Stephanie, you said you feel that way. Okay. Whitney came to a point where she was like, I don't care what people say. I'm just going to do what I want to do. Now, I told you what I feel, but you may, you may feel a little differently. Okay. Which is fine on this channel. We all don't have to agree. We all have our own opinions. Okay. So if you feel differently than someone else, okay, so be it. We all can agree to disagree and still be cordial with everyone, right? Okay. 19, okay. My phone is buffering here a bit. Is the connection okay, folks? As well. My computer's not buffering, but my phone is a bit. Okay. All right, we're going again. That you need me to clear up from the first 3 chapters at this point? One thing I can say is they seem chaotic, all right, which is sad. But if you go back and look at a lot of the interviews that people have given, people who were close to her, they will tell you, and even people who she wasn't close to, people that that she did have contact with, but they weren't particularly close. And they told her that these were the best times of her life. And if you look at it, it was, because once she became famous, oh my God, they were relentless. They would not, give her a break. So I think Whitney made the statement, they make you to break you. Someone had mentioned that to her, and that was so true in her case. They would not give her a break. What do you think Whitney would say about Bobby's book, about their relationship? That's a good question, actually, Stephanie. What do I think? I think Whitney would, say you're not really being truthful, because the book that I have of Bobby's, Every Little Step, is actually his second book. His first book was The Whole Truth and Nothing But the Truth. But it should, another part of that title of that book should be And a Lot of Lies. Okay. And it's unfortunate. I think that, Bobby tried to, make himself look a little bit. So I think Whitney was saying, oh, you're not telling the truth. Okay. And, and we know that, Whitney, when she was alive, even though he was doing all these horrible things to her, she never did really come out and say anything, except the 2009 Oprah Winfrey interview. She touched on it a bit, but not a lot. So you could tell one thing about her I've learned from my research. Whitney was a very loyal person, so you could be treating her like a dog. And when the reporters would come up and ask her questions, she would not come out, yeah, he did this, he did that. She was very loyal. I will say that. So, and I would definitely say that, she would say, hey, this isn't quite, they were both cheating. And I think, after Whitney passed, I think he made a statement, that talked about some people she cheated on him with. And so, when you're talking about someone else, you're trying to divert from what you have done. Okay, so that's how I feel about that, Stephanie. Okay. Who else has a question? All right, I'm back up. So from what I've been told, Bobby's second book, the one that I have, is probably more truthful than the first one. Okay. But you know, some of the videos I've seen, like I said, if you look at some of the statements that Bobby is making, he, you know, to get rid of the rumors about her sexuality. So, you know, he's looking back now saying that, you know, that's what it was about. He wanted love, but she was looking for a beard. But in all honesty, you know, at that time, Whitney Houston was the biggest star in the world, just about. So he was probably looking for a little clout. You know, wow, you're married to Whitney Houston, so that's going to boost. You know, that's going to boost your ego. Okay, so that's how I feel about that, Stephanie. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, I still have 6 people in the chat. Don't forget, folks, to go back and like the video. I only have 1 person. I have 6 people, and 1 person actually liked it. Okay, go back and like the video. Let me know you like the content, and I will keep it coming. Okay. All right. Stephanie said, I really don't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. Stephanie, you know, to a point, yeah, you're right. Like I said, you know, when you are talking to someone, and I mean, but I feel that my dad won't let me date a black guy. So, you know, then next thing we know, you know, he's marrying Whitney Houston. And then Whitney Houston was dating Eddie. So I think she was just like, whatever. She and Bobby got together. They both had their own reasons. But, you know, I think, you know, it was just, it didn't start out toxic, but it became toxic. Okay. Danisha says, Bobby seemed pretty frustrated with the foundation, Whitney and Robyn. Statements that Bobby is making as he's coming out, yeah, now we see how frustrated that he was. And, you know, from his point of view, you know, Robyn and Whitney were tight. And he says that he wanted his relationship with Whitney to be like that. But he said he could never make her happy. So, Danisha, you are right about that. Okay. And like I said, I didn't realize, and guys, you know, how we feel about, you know, regardless of how we feel about Bobby Brown, he was her husband. And, you know, these are the statements he's now making, you know, so you got to, you know, see what he's saying and take it into consideration at least. But Danisha, I definitely feel, and that, you know, could have caused, because to me, you know, from behavior he exhibited from the start. Because if you remember, those of you who don't know, they went on their honeymoon, and the honeymoon. So this is as they're just starting out. When Whitney came back from the honeymoon, we still don't know what really happened, because she told one story and he told another. Her face was slashed open, and while they were in Italy on their honeymoon, and they stitched it up the best they could. But when she got back into America, she had to have plastic surgery, because from my understanding, it was a pretty deep cut. We still don't know. So who does that? I think Whitney said that she threw a glass and it hit the wall and smashed back on her face. He said that he threw a fork. So no one knows. We just know her face was slashed, and her own mother, Sissy, said that Whitney was never the same after that happened. Never. So I think, yeah, with Bobby, there was a lot of frustration. And like I said, that, you know, as soon as they got married, Whitney blew up so large, no one knew she was going to go. He was just, you know, jealous, you know, because his career had peaked. All right. I actually still have a cassette of Bobby Brown when he came out with Roni and My Prerogative, and what was that other? Every Little Step, Don't Be Cruel. I actually still have that cassette. Okay. Okay, where are we here? So I think that, it was just too much for him to deal with, you know? Oh my goodness. It was just a totally unstable, chaotic relationship. Um, so they may have, I think they both loved each other. They just, drugs, yeah, in the limelight, it's just too much going against them. It was just too much, and they just couldn't overcome it. And I think now Bobby recognizes that he, had some mental health problems. He was bipolar, and from all accounts, I think they're saying said it's Whitney also self-medicated. She had anxiety and depression issues. So, folks, we're going to have to step it up when we realize we have some of these issues. If you start self-medicating, that's only going to make the situation a lot worse. All right. Okay, let's see, where are we? So I think, Bobby's frustration only increased, and she just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And, when you're dealing with someone who is jealous of you or envious, those are some of those deadly sins, and there's a reason for that. Okay. So I think he had to, Whitney would have had to have been with someone who was secure, in their own right, because clearly Bobby couldn't handle it. And of course, he's older now, he's matured now. So, I think, they were young, he was younger. That didn't help the situation. So, of course, he didn't handle him in all situations. And again, if you look at, like I said, it's really sad now that I've, done research, read the book, when I look at everything that, Whitney experienced throughout her life is drugs. I mean, I admit I didn't pay a lot of attention to it when all of this stuff was going on. I was like, oh, well, it was in the tabloids. Every time you went to the grocery stores, the tabloid magazines, you know what they are. They're right there as you're checking out. And like I said, to find out everything that this woman was going through, I mean, it's heart wrenching. It's heart wrenching. And what can you do? Had she received help, maybe she would still be here. But I think the people, her handlers, as they're called, they didn't want her off drugs. I don't, she was bankrolling and paying for everyone's lifestyle. So if she wasn't on drugs, she would really know what was going on, and she would have, probably cut all of them loose. So if you look at each time someone went to her family, her mother, her father, and said, she's on drugs really bad, you didn't hear from that person anymore because they were fired and they were just trying to help. So that's how I feel about touring. From reading Robyn's book, I think she mentioned sometimes they were touring for 11 months out of 12. So it was just a sad situation. Everyone was benefiting from her. She was the workhorse. She was the one making all the money, and everyone else was benefiting. And she should have been $20 million in debt. If anything, she should have had $20 million in her bank account. But, again, she was just being ripped off. Okay, let's see who else. Who else has a question about Whitney or Robyn? And keep in mind, I was looking, Denisha, I was on YouTube last night, and Robyn has released a video for some program that she's doing, Girls Right or something. I looked at it last, so it seems like now this is really bringing her out. So she's involved herself with another program, and that should be good. There's some program for girls to help them write or whatever. I think it's like a 12 to 13-minute video, Denisha. So I know you would be interested in that because you told me you're a really big Whitney fan. Okay. All right. Who else has a question? All right. All right. Bobby seemed pretty. Okay. All right. There's no new questions. So I'm going to try to upload chapter 4. I'll do that. I'll upload that next week. And that's gonna, okay. I gotta see how long or short it is. I may start doubling up on the chapters if they aren't terribly long. Okay. So folks, I mean, you know, also, if you're not familiar with Whitney's source, I went to Whitney Source's Instagram page. If you're a big Whitney Houston fan, I would definitely go to my Instagram and look. It's Whitney underscore source, the word source. And so I went on her Instagram. I went on Whitney Source's Instagram last night, and it was eye-opening. It really was. So pictures I had never seen before. Denisha, you always have something. Something to ask. Okay. I don't know if I have a question here because I'm kind of slow. So I'm hoping that, you know, as we continue momentum, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope that you are. And, you know, if you have any questions or something you're not quite sure about, if I don't know the answer, I will definitely try to research it and then get back to you, if that makes sense. Okay. How's everyone doing with the quarantining? Oh my goodness. It's driving me nuts. It is driving me bonkers. And they're talking about becoming even more confining. I think with the stores now, they're going to have to, I know Walmart's doing some, usually what Walmart does, the other stores follow suit. So I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. So this is helping me. This is an outlet for me. Yeah, I enjoy talking to you, you all, and it gives me something to do as I'm sitting around the house, talking about Whitney Houston. And yes, Denisha, I am still in shock, just like you. Oh my goodness. But I'm just glad. I hope Whitney's looking down on us, saying, yeah, with everything that she put up with in her life, let's send nothing but love her way. How about that? She deserves that. And she went through a lot. And I often tell people, Stephanie and Denisha, since you two are the only ones who are commenting right now, if I had her family, my God, I probably would have been doing drugs too. OMG. Oh, deplorable. All right, Stephanie says Whitney and Bobby should have gotten to know each other before they married. That way they could have avoided this. Stephanie, that is that's a very good statement. Now that you mention that, Bobby Brown is actually saying that they really didn't know each other. Know each other like you should, particularly if you're going to get married. So Stephanie, yeah, now you know, now that you bring that up, that's what Bobby is saying. Bobby's saying, you know, I mean, they didn't know each other like that. Bobby also said, particularly at Arista Records. And, you know, remember when she started in the 80s, that's why I like having people on here of different age groups. Because people today, people in their 20s, Denisha, I think I mentioned this to you last live, people in their 20s are like, well, why didn't she just come out? You could not do that in the 80s. If she had done that, she wouldn't have had a career. She would have been still sitting there with Robyn. You know, I think Robyn was a security guard. Whitney was modeling, participated in live chats where people were like, well, if she really loved Robyn, no matter what, she would have been with her and she wouldn't have married Bobby. That's not how things were. That's how it is now. The druggie she was this, she was that. She was very religious. That was her foundation. She was never going to do that. Even if, say, once she divorced Bobby and she had to get back with Robyn, you know, she still would not have come out. She divorced Bobby, what, 2006 or seven, I think. So she still wasn't going to, because of her religious upbringing. Okay. So Stephanie, you are definitely right. Bobby is even saying that now. They didn't know each other. Okay. And if you look at it, you know, Bobby being rejected by Janet, and then Whitney being rejected by Eddie. So sometimes, you know, you get someone on the rebound, and that's a big mistake, a big no-no. So that's a very good point that you made, Stephanie. Very good point. All right. Do we have any other questions, folks? Okay. If we don't have any other questions, I'll go ahead and all right, we still have 2-3 people here. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I got that question. Yeah, if you have any other questions, fine. You know, if I don't know it, I can try to find it out. That's all I can say. All right. Any other questions, folks? But yes, Stephanie, you stick around, because when I start reading Bobby Brown's book, every little step, this question that you just asked, you know, you're gonna hear some of the things that he is saying. And this is one of the things back, like, why would you marry someone that you don't know? Sometimes something sounds like a good idea. And I think with Bobby, it was probably, you know, well, this is Whitney Houston, because he was like, he was in awe. This is Whitney Houston. So, you know, he was enamored with Whitney Houston, and Whitney was thinking, well, you know, I think she liked his bad boy image, because she wanted to be bad, but she couldn't. Trying to live this perfect life, she lost it. And I, you know, I feel that worsened her drug usage. And when Robyn could see the writing on the wall, because at that point, those of you who keep up with Whitney Houston and the Whitney Houston saga, at that point, okay, well, she had started canceling concert dates, and, you know, Robyn, she was about business. So she got out before it really got bad. But she didn't like the fact Whitney was canceling, you know, Whitney had erratic behavior. She was canceling shows. Stephanie said, yeah, Stephanie, you're absolutely right. Those drugs just ruined it. Because Stephanie, now that you mentioned that, because like she really liked Eddie Murphy, but Eddie Murphy, you know, he's not into the drugs. Because I think I read somewhere he had been to a rehab. So I don't think he was on it heavy, but you know, if you've ever done drugs, you can't date someone or spend time with people who do drugs, because you're gonna fall right back in that trap. And yeah, they said, Stephanie, that her attitude did change. But when you're on drugs, you're not acting like yourself. You're under the influence, Stephanie. So you're right. Those drugs they take you one place and it's always downhill, unfortunately. Okay. Any other questions, folks? Okay, yeah, and she just could have gotten off those drugs. Um, and had a clear mind, she would have gone to Nippy Inc. and just probably thrown everyone out of there, with the exception of her accountant. I forgot her accountant's name. Retires from singing, she's going to be broke. And by golly, that's what happened. And so, that's why I think her family didn't want anyone close to Whitney, because especially when it was going to tell the truth. Awful, but yes, Stephanie, if you do drugs, they will make your attitude stink. True statement. True statement. So, those are all the questions that we have today, folks. Because if we don't have any other questions, I'll just go ahead and speak. If there are no more questions. So, folks, if again, you can leave your comments below. I'm going to include my my email in the description area up under this live, so that if you have any questions that you can't think of now, that you can shoot me an email, and then I can try to answer those questions when we have the next live. Okay. All right. Okay, we did all right. We right at 50 minutes. Thank you, everyone who participated in the live chat. As always, glad to have you. If you like the video, please continue to view the Rollins Reviews channel. I'm going to try to upload chapter 4. Next, we could have another live event and bring those questions so I can try to answer them for you. Okay? All right. Do we have any other questions, folks? Let's see. Okay. I think that's it. All right. No more questions. So we'll go ahead and end this live. Okay. And I'll see you next video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel.